You are suing for drinking your baby's juice.
Haven't seen no juice, looked at no juice, take no juice. Come on now, look at my size. Why would I even touch anything that small? That's a tease to me.
You refused to give me my bucket back. You stole it. Pastor Dirty Mike, or you refused to give it to me?
His track record isn't real good. I realized I'm gonna just be fighting, trying to get my money out of it.
All right.
This is a courthouse. Behave yourself.
Plaintiff Alexys Taylor says she kicked her roommate out for smoking weed and getting the munchies. She's suing for $400 back rent and eating all of her baby's food and juice. Defendant, William Johnson, claims he barely stayed at the plaintiff's apartment and definitely didn't drink any baby juice. He says he owes her nothing.
You're about to give us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. All rise. The Honorable Judge Jerry Springer now presiding. It's case 139 on the docket, Taylor versus Johnson.
Okay, and welcome to both of you. Let's see what I have here. The plaintiff, Ms. Taylor, you are suing the defendant, Mr. Johnson, for $400 for back rent and eating and drinking your baby's food and juice.
That's crazy.
Okay, on a serious note, what's the deal here?
I met him through my ex. They do music together.
Yes.
And about a year ago, he had told me that he needed a place to stay. He had just broken up with his girlfriend. He was in between paychecks, and I agreed because my rent is $800.
Yes.
That if you were to pay me $300 for rent and $100 for food every month, that he could stay and it wouldn't be a problem.
Oh, well, okay.
But the moment he moved in, there were issues.
And what were these issues?
Setting aside the juice, the fact that it was 80 juice boxes between Kool-Aid jammers, Mott's apple juice, and Honest fruit punch.
Oh,
Seriously?
man. What is that called, Honest?
Honest fruit punch.
And you had all these because you drink them or your baby drinks them?
I have two babies.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah, one's 2 and one's 3. And
Okay.
They're my life. They're my
Well, of
everything.
course.
So
Yes.
he had his own bedroom and a back area for him to set up his studio.
And that was okay with you?
Yes, that was okayed by me.
You said he could set up a studio in the place he was renting from you?
Yes.
In the back to play his music?
It was, yes, because it was already halfway set up because my ex did music too.
So you were used to that?
Yes. And so what the problem was, he would have people over every night for a whole month, playing music until about 5 o'clock in the morning, either keeping the kids awake or waking up my kids. My son would hear the bass from the music and go, oh, and start bobbing his head and everything.
Bobbing his head because it was catchy.
They would smoke up my entire house, and my son has asthma. I even asked him not to have people overnight, especially women, because, you know, you got to watch when you have kids.
Sure.
I found lace panties right next to my kids' playroom, and they were definitely not mine. I know my own underwear.
Wow. Well, why don't you respond first, then I'll have a comment on what I'm hearing so far.
So we basically came up with an agreement because I got kicked out.
Yes.
For me to be there. I barely was there, you know what I'm saying? As far as the baby juice thing goes, I don't know nothing she's talking about. Haven't seen no juice, looked at no juice, take no juice, none of that, you know what I'm saying? Especially when there's no little baby juicy juice. Come on now, look at my size. Why would I even touch anything that small? That's a tease to me. That's a tease to me.
To you, yeah.
Come on now.
But you had people over there.
Man, it was one time. Not every day.
I'm not saying every day, but from time to time you had people there. It
wasn't even time to time. I was barely there. I was gone working, you know, trying to make my money because she barely was letting me make money with the music. I mean, I couldn't even record barely there with the kids crying and all that.
What kind of music do you do?
I'm an artist, but I'm also a producer. I do rap music.
But anyway, the idea was that you would pay $300 a month for rent.
A month.
And that you would pay $100 for food.
Mind you, I was barely there.
Well, but I'm not counting the hours you were there. If you rent a place for a month, you rent it for a month, it's not, well, I was only there 12 hours a day, 6 hours a day.
Yeah, but getting kicked out 2 weeks within the
when
month,
was he?
What
happened? When do you say it ended, his residency there?
At the end of the month, he took all of his things out of my house. He left, didn't leave me any rent money. I had contacted him.
How many days was that after when he first moved in?
It was 30.
So he was a resident there for a month. Whether or not he was there every night, that's not the issue.
It was
Yes.
The point was he
14
could keep his
days.
stuff there for a month.
Yes.
So the day you moved out, the day you took your furniture, that's when your residency there legally ended.
It wasn't even 14 days, I'm
Yes, it
trying to tell
was.
you.
If you pay rent in a place and you went on vacation, you'd still have to pay the rent there.
He said, I have proof and text messages
Yeah, I wanna
that,
see it,
that
yeah.
he said that he only stayed there a month.
Okay.
There you are, Judge.
He says, I already told you you're not getting it. I only stayed a month. Okay. All right. It's clear that legally you were a resident there for a month, even if you only stayed there 2 nights. What I have to say to both of you is neither of you were really thinking very strongly about this. It's a house with a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old. What made either of you think, and you know more about this music than I do, but what made either of you think that in a home with a 2 and a 3-year-old, you could be making music? I mean, forget nighttime. What about during the day when the kids take naps? You can't have a business like that in a place with 2 kids. You probably should have found a better place to stay, just from your point of view, and you ought to have found someone else to share the rent with, because that was just a bad decision to begin with. The suit, though, all she's suing for is the $400, which would be $300 for the month and $100 for the food.
Didn't touch the juice and I paid for my own food. So
But-
I don't-
but the
I
deal
feel like
was-
I don't owe anything when I was taking care of myself and was barely there.
The deal was that you would pay her $400 a
He
month.
definitely drank the juice.
That was the original deal.
You go with the
Maybe
juice.
you shouldn't have agreed to that deal. But I do have to fine for the plaintiff in the sum of $400.
Remain at the same.
Man, honestly, I think her ex came in and out the crib drinking the juice. With me being there, you know, I was to blame.
I will never live with a rapper again.
Plaintiff Roland Barbarosa claims his poker buddies sold him a piece of machinery, then stole it back. He's suing for $5,000. Defendant Mike Warfield claims the plaintiff refused to pay for the machinery, and he's countersuing for $3,600 for defamation and damages.
Do you swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. All rise. The Honorable Judge Jerry Springer now presiding. Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Afternoon, Haji.
It's case number 185 on the docket, Barbarosa versus Warfield.
Okay, thank you. Welcome to both of you. We have the plaintiff, Mr. Barbarosa,
Yes.
and you are suing your, you say, former friend, Mike Warfield,
Yes, Your Honor.
for the sum of $5,000 for a skid steer and a grapple bucket.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you are countersuing him for $3,650 for defamation and damages.
Yes, sir.
We'll start with you. For those people who, until this case, included me, weren't sure what a skid steer was.
It's just a piece of equipment. It's got several implements can go on the front of it, buckets, broom sweepers.
Okay, so it's a piece of equipment that has a track and it does various things.
Yes, sir.
In this
Multifunction.
case, it has a grapple in front, which is the part like a
Yes, sir.
scoop. All right, what's your story?
Well, known Mike for a long time. You know, we live on Crystal Beach, Texas, a beach community. We play cards in the day, or we play dominoes at the ship's wheel almost every day. So we're always together. I got to know Mike, and you know, it's just a tight-knit group of friends.
Good.
You know, kind of realized that he had a piece of equipment at his house, and I inquired about it. And he said it was in bad shape, needed track, needed rollers, and you know, down there the salt air tears everything up. But I asked
What did you need the equipment for?
just construction.
Oh, you do construction work?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's what I want to know.
I went and looked at it and asked him what he'd sell it for, and he said $6,000.
Okay,
$2,000 down and $4,000 whenever he built his shop. I would pour the concrete foundation for it at no charge, and that would be the balance of the $6,000.
that you could pay off the balance by doing some work on his
Concrete slab.
concrete slab?
Yes, sir.
Okay, oh, that was the agreement, he's not
Verbal agreements are binding in
Okay.
Texas.
You mean verbal agreements are binding in Texas?
Yes, sir.
You're saying people in Texas tell the truth.
Most of the time.
Okay.
Anyway, I paid him his $2,000.
Yeah.
Took the skid steer.
You guys agreed on the price, $6,000. You put $2,000 on, and he delivered it to you, and then you...
I picked it up.
Oh, you picked it up?
Yes.
And then you started to put things on
Yes.
it? Okay.
About the track.
You made improvements to it?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay. And you put the grapple on it?
Put the grapple bucket, yes, sir.
Okay.
So anyway, I started working with it. Had it on several job sites.
How long did you have it?
Several months. I can't remember
Several
all the
months.
details.
Okay. And you did work with it while you had
Yes.
it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
In fact, I was in the middle of a job whenever he stole it.
What do you mean he stole it?
He went and took it.
He took it back?
Yes.
Okay.
We were still under contract.
Maybe he repossessed it, is what you're saying.
We were still under contract. I haven't met the deadline for my final payment. I'm getting to that part, sir. He changed,
Go ahead.
He changed
Go
the
ahead.
contracts.
Go ahead with your part.
He came up with a house slab or another foundation for somebody that bought one of his lots. Asked me if I could do that foundation. That's what this here is, the dimensions for it. That's the dimensions for the foundation I was going to pour. We agreed on a price. I sent a contractor out there to go ahead and farm it up. Asked Dirty Mike for the down payment to give the contractor. He refused to give it to me.
You were supposed to do the work as payment for
Yes.
that piece of
No
equipment.
longer going to do his workshop. We were going to do this foundation over here.
Okay, so why were you asking him for money?
As a contractor, you get a down payment. He was supposed to pay me $4,400 and the $4,000 extra. There was an $8,400 slab.
Oh, okay.
He said, why don't you pay it? I said, I don't have the money. He said, well, I said, you have the money. The customer gave you the down payment, not me. The customer already gave them the money. He told me that, but he wouldn't convey any of it to me to convey to the other contractor. So I said, you know what? I'm not going to do anything.
Okay. What about that?
I asked him if, because I knew the neighbors, and I asked him if he wanted me to see if I could get him this job. And if I did, that he would pay me $4,000 out of that.
Right.
And so I got the job, they paid me, gave me a check, and I told Roland, you owe me $4,000. The contractor wanted $3,000 down. I told him, go ahead and pay that. And then when the contractor got done, I would pay the contractor the balance due. And then I would keep what was left over. That would leave $200 that Roland would owe me. And that way, I wouldn't have to worry about the contractor putting a lien on my neighbor's property.
Right.
Because his track record
He knows how
isn't
much
real
track-
good.
He doesn't know his track record.
He was supposed to give me a lump sum of $1,000 down and then make payments on the other $1,000. That never happened. He made payments the whole time up to the $2,000. And at that time I realized that I'm gonna just be fighting trying to get my money out of it.
In terms of equity, whether it was for another job or whatever, you owed him $4,000 on the $6,000 item.
Yes.
Okay. So he's right to say that you owe him $4,000.
Oh, no doubt about that.
And right. And because he wasn't getting that, he repossessed it.
He didn't pour his concrete slab.
But see,
I never had the opportunity to pour his concrete slab.
You were using what was still his. You had paid $2,000, but he was owed $4,000. For whatever reason, he wasn't getting the $4,000 he wanted, so he comes back several months later and repossesses.
We were still under contract, Your Honor. I told him I didn't want to pay the $4,000. I wanted to do the profit. There's a lot of profit in concrete. It wouldn't have been out of pocket if I did his slab. I'd have had all that profit that I normally made would have gone to him. He didn't want to do that. He wanted the $4,000 cash. I said, no, just give me my $2,000 back, reimburse me for the track on it, and keep the skid steer. He refused to do that. He refused to give me my bucket back because he said it was an improvement.
Okay, the bucket is separate. I'm going to deal with the bucket separate. But what I don't understand is you can make a living with this thing. In other words, you make a profit. Why not pay him what it's worth and then go out and make this money and do the concretes and everything else you want to do?
I was going to.
Well, you can do it now.
Well, I've already sued for it, sir.
Well, I understand that, but I'm here to settle it for you. So I am saying, if you pay him the $4,000, you've got back everything that you want to have,
He has
which
it.
was the original intent anyway.
Sir, he has a machine. I just want the initial down payment. He can have the machine back. He's already took it.
Okay.
Because he did it within our contract terms.
Okay.
It wasn't
the
after I did-
reason. Okay. When someone repossesses, the reason you don't get back the down payment, and let me explain. It would make no sense, because if you are entitled to get a down payment back on an item that is repossessed, then everyone would get everything for free. I'll explain. You see this beautiful Maserati. You go into the dealership and say, I want that Maserati, I'll put down the 5% down payment. You put down the down payment, you ride it around for a month, maybe you're taking your wife on a vacation, you come back, you had this great Maserati, and now you don't make any payments. They repossess it. If they had to give back your down payment, you would have had a Maserati for a month free. Everybody would be doing
I
that.
understand that.
We also have here the countersuit for the amount of $3,650. You say for defamation and damages. What is the defamation to you?
He was telling people at the bar and other people that I was doing wrong stuff and that kind of thing. He's just slandering me, basically.
If there's a lawsuit on
He's-
defamation, it has to be pretty specific. What, not just he said not nice things about me. What did he accuse you of?
Calling me in the bar.
You are. Sorry, Your Honor.
This is a courthouse. Behave yourself. Go ahead.
And just similar stuff to that.
The court can't find, based on this evidence, you guys play poker together, you all have the same friends, you say things about each other, it's gossip, it's sometimes even malicious gossip.
All the time.
But it's
Between
not
everyone.
enough that this court could make a finding of defamation. You probably could say the same thing back to him that he says to you, and some people aren't going to like him because of it. So on that, I have to dismiss the case. Okay, you're suing for return of the down payment.
Breach of contract.
You're suing for, yeah, I understand the whole thing is based on a breach of contract. The $2,000 down payment and the $1,200 in improvements, and separately the return of the bucket for $6,000. You get to keep the track skidder.
Yes.
I'm saying it wrong, aren't I? Steer.
Skid steer.
Skid steer.
That's what you get. Okay. So you've got that. And you get money, not for the down payment, not for the improvements, because you made the improvements when it was still legally his. But you are entitled to a sum because he put the grapple bucket on. Well, I looked up how much these used ones are worth. And it goes anywhere from $1,000 to $6,000. And in this case, I'm going to fine for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,000.
Can I ask you one more thing? Sir? Here, I'm just gonna move forward, go play cards tomorrow. I'm sure with Mike.
He was in the wrong. And I believe that, well, the judge saw it the way he wanted to see it, and that's fine. My friendship with Roland, and it's pretty much over. I'll be amiable to him, but that's about it.
Thanks for watching. Now please approach the bench. The way I look at it, you have two options here. Option A, watch more Judge Jerry. Option B, watch more Jerry Springer. The choice is yours. Now get out of my courtroom. You have more clips to watch. And don't forget to subscribe.